Taste the feeling.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Exiles from what, you ask? Exiled from the radio, but now we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people, too.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hello and welcome to Hour 1 of our Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping that your weekend was an absolutely marvelous one. If not, well, as we like to say each and every Monday, right about this time of the day, good Lord willing, you will still be here when the next one rolls our way, and you'll have the opportunity to try it all over again. I want to start today's show with a tip of the hat to all my fellow real Americans for showing organized sports, professional and college, what we feel about the fake issue that they have been preaching to us, trying to cram down our throats over the last weeks, months, what have you. Just on a whim this weekend, and I told you a week ago how angry I was for the politicization of sports and how in the first week of college football, there was all the BLM stickers everywhere and all the inference that America is such a racist place and so on and so forth. You're all familiar with all the rhetoric by now. Well, did you notice this weekend, college football in particular, all the BLM stickers, all the fists, all the inferences of racism magically went away? The NFL, for its part, pretty much the same thing. They've now relegated it to one little sticker in the end zone that says "End Racism." Two things. Number one, the numbers, ratings, are in the toilet. I guess they figured with America being locked up all this time, locked down, whatever term you want to use, we would be so starved for live sports that we would swallow all the crap that they were trying to shove down our throats. Well, the ratings said otherwise. And all of a sudden now they realize, oh, wait a minute, maybe we miscalculated on all of this. Yeah, I know what I said, miscalculated. They didn't miscalculate, they miscalculated. Discombobulated, yeah. All of a sudden now they realize, oh, wait a minute, these folks are waking up to the fact that they don't need us, we need them. And of course, the logical progression in all of this is if they're not watching, then the advertisers aren't going to spend money. If they don't spend the money, then our salaries and our revenue goes down the toilet. All of a sudden now, magically, they're starting to pull all the politics back out of this mess. Of course, now the NFL has painted itself into a corner with the players. They can't just yank everything, because then they're going to have a revolt among the players. So to placate the masses of players, we're going to ask y'all, we'll take the names of the criminals off your helmet. We're going to take the BLM stickers all out of the stands, and we'll replace it with end racism. Now let me say for the record, I'm a realist. And the fact of the matter is racism is something that's in your heart. And at the end of the day, you will always have some people that will hold to antiquated, stupid ideas of racial superiority, be they black, white, yellow, red, brown, whomever. You will always have that. But at the end of the day, this country, for example, I'll take my own family as an example. It is amazing that in a country that is, quote, systemically racist, in a country that was founded on racist ideals, in my family, in 3 generations, my late grandmother, God bless her, Joyce Richardson, AKA Momo. My grandmother could not read or write, signed her name with an X. In 3 generations, from her to present day, my sister, her grandchild, is a transplant surgeon. She can crack your chest open, take out a defective heart, put in another heart, sew you up, send you on your way to continue life. In 3 generations, from a woman who could not read nor write, signed her name with an X, and her grandchild is a transplant surgeon. In this country, we went in 4 generations from black folks not being able to vote to electing a black man as the leader of the free world. Governors, mayors, chiefs of police, CEOs of major corporations, but yet, oh, America is systemically racist. That's a bunch of crap. It's a convenient excuse for those who don't want to honor and live up to the American ideal of working hard, sacrificing, keeping the government out of my back pocket and letting me take care of me and mine. All of a sudden now, college football, they're getting the message. Real Americans are tired of this crap that we're preaching to them, this false narrative, and they're not going to take it anymore. Tip of the hat to you, my fellow real Americans, for showing these clowns exactly what time it is. Of course, now, it also may have something to do with why, after more than 100 days, Nancy Pelosi this weekend comes out and condemns the violent protests. But wait, they're peaceful protests, right? Yeah. Nancy Pelosi tweeting, quote, We support peaceful demonstrations. We participate in them. They are part of the essence of our democracy. That does not include looting, starting fires, or rioting. They should be prosecuted. That is lawlessness. So the polls out, all of them, showing condemnation for this Marxist movement and the false narrative that they have fostered upon this country. The polls now, Nancy Pelosi didn't have any big epiphany. All of a sudden, after more than 100 days, she realizes that they are, in fact, rioting, they are, in fact, looting, they are, in fact, burning. No, she didn't have this great epiphany. She read the polls. And she saw also the ratings for professional sports. They rode that donkey as far as they could to try and make the president look bad. But when the numbers came out, they realized, oh, wait a minute, we miscalculated. We need to come back because Americans are tired of this crap and they are seeing through this foolishness. Just goes to show you what happens, y'all, when real Americans stand on principle. Just goes to show you what happens when real Americans flex their American muscle. Now, is the NBA going to get it? Probably not. And their numbers will continue to go around the bowl and down the hole. They are in the midst of the playoffs, and Americans aren't watching. Major League Baseball, better wake up, Hoss, because you're going to be next. Americans, real Americans, are sick and tired of this foolishness. We are sick and tired of this false narrative crap, and we're going to vote. Not only are we going to vote at the ballot, at the polls, we're going to vote with our wallets. And there is absolutely nothing that corporate America responds to faster than hitting them in their pockets. Bottom line, they're about the bottom line. And real Americans have awakened to the fact, wait a minute, I don't need you, you need me. Yeah, we love our football. Yeah, we love our baseball. We love our basketball. But we love our country a heck of a lot more. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you may also realize how blessed you are to live in a country where your only redeeming quality is you can bounce a ball. But yet, you're allowed to make untold millions and millions and millions of dollars. Instead of insulting my anthem, you ought to be thanking God that you live in a country where you can get what you can get for such unredeeming qualities as you bring to the table. You're not curing cancer. You're not providing clean drinking water to underprivileged nations across the globe. You're bouncing a freaking ball. You ought to be grateful for the living that you can make in this country by doing that. But instead, you want to preach. Well, I'll tell you what, Hoss, preach on. But you're going to do it without a whole lot of real Americans' money. Just saying. First break of hour one. We're going to bang this out, come back, and institute a brand new segment entitled, now that's just stupid. That's next, in hour one of the Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
That's right, the Clarence Bug Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Welcome back as we continue hour one of our Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, it's ironic, in some cases humorous, but in many cases, probably more so than any, it's painful to watch the level of stupidity that we have risen to, or as, depending on how you look at it, the case may be, we have fallen to. I understand that these are trying times. I understand that there are folks out there, media, politicians, that are desperately trying to feed us all sorts of narratives to steer us in directions they want us to go, all in an effort to get more power. I get it. I understand. I've been doing this for 40 years, y'all, so I've seen it come and go. I've seen the ebb and flow. I've seen the pendulum swing back and forth. So I ain't talking about what I heard. I'm talking about what I know. But it's still painful to watch the level of stupidity that we entertain in this country this day. So in watching all of this, and hopefully we'll have our graphic put together by next week, but today we usher in the inaugural segment, the inaugural edition of Now That's Just Stupid. There are so many things out there, and that aside from being painful to watch how stupid some people are in this country and others, it's even more painful to see how many episodes of stupidity there are in this country and others these days. For example, Columbia University, Ivy League school. Matter of fact, my sister's a Columbia grad. She finished at Tulane, left there, went to Wayne State in Detroit, graduated there, went to Columbia in New York, graduated there, then went to University of South Florida, where she studied then and is now a transplant surgeon. Columbia. I mean, one of, you know, when you say Columbia, you're in the same level with Brown and Princeton and, you know, all of these folks. Well, last week, the Columbia University Marching Band decided we need to dissolve ourselves. We need to end the band. They've been in existence now for well over 100 years. They've been at odds with the university in recent years, and they've now decided, 116 years, I was looking for the exact total. They've decided that the band decided, we need to dissolve the band. They issued a statement saying, quote, "The band has unanimously and enthusiastically decided to dissolve. The Columbia University Marching Band will not continue to exist in any capacity and will no longer serve as Columbia's spirit group." According to the band members, the statement continues, "With this decision, the current band attempts to take responsibility both for harm directly caused by present band members and for injuries which occurred at other times in the band's history." The marching band added, "It has been recently subjected to anonymous postings and allegations of sexual misconduct, assault, theft, gotta have this one, racism, and injury to individuals and the Columbia University as a whole." They go on to say, quote, "The marching band," well, I'll spare you all the rest of this foolishness. Here's the question. You've been in existence for 116 years, and now you have decided that we need to come to grips with our history of sexism, racism, et cetera, et cetera. Instead of denying aspiring music students the opportunity to perfect their craft, playing their instruments, instead of denying band members scholarships to be able to get an education, instead of denying band members the opportunity to perform for their school, why not simply change your behavior? I guess they didn't think about that. If the organization is all of that, why not simply change your behavior? And here's the thing. At some point, if you have a football team, I guess if you could call Columbia's football team a football team, keeping in mind this is the school that not so very long ago set the record in this country for consecutive losses. Remember that? Remember Prairie View used to be the team that had gone like 5 years and not won a football game. Well, Columbia's record eclipsed that of Prairie View, okay? At some point, if you continue to play football, you're going to want to have a band. So I guess they will reinstate a band somewhere down the road. What's to stop the new band from doing the same thing? Why not make the concerted effort to change your behavior? But that shows you the cancel culture in this country and how people now think. 4 words for you, y'all. Now that's just stupid. Meanwhile, speaking of stupid, Minneapolis, Minnesota, riots, looting, burning, the whole nine. And of course, they bought into the narrative of abolishing and or defunding the police. So the city council there votes to abolish the police. Meanwhile, since the city council passed this vote, they've already surpassed in 9 months the murder rate for all of last year. Burglaries up 57%. Assaults, robberies up 55%. Arson up through the roof. So at the last city council meeting, what did they ask the council members? Well, where are the police? You can't make this up. These idiots voted to abolish the police department. And now that crime is running rampant in the streets of Minneapolis, the city council who voted to abolish the police, they're inundated by calls from their constituents. One city council member taking the podium and asking, well, if my house is being broken into in the middle of the night, who do I call? Really, lady? Really? You vote to abolish the police. What did you actually think was going to happen? Of course, now, they did decide that, well, we're going to abolish the police, but we will institute violence interrupters. What the bleep is a violence interrupter? Seasoned law enforcement will tell you the most dangerous call you can go on is a domestic violence call. So we're going to get ordinary citizens, make them violence interrupters, and let them go out and diffuse these situations. Well, apparently they didn't get the memo, because 9 months into this year, you've already passed last year's murder rate. Burglaries up almost 60%, assaults, arsons, robberies through the roof. And you're asking, well, where are the police? Now that's just stupid. Sadly, you hadn't heard the real ones yet. You hadn't heard the real good ones yet. Did you know, according to the largest newspaper in Canada, that mowing your lawn is now racist? You ain't heard stupid yet. Stick around. Let me get this bottom of the hour break out of the way. Now, for the record, white people, husbands, you cannot tell your wife, like Jonathan is planning to do, the next time it's 100 degrees outside and she's bugging you about cutting the grass, you can't say, I don't want to be racist, that's why I hadn't cut the grass. Mowing your lawn is racist. More stupid next on the Clarence Buggs Show. Here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Jaguar Nation, we need your help in masking up Louisiana.
Masks help us slow the spread of COVID-19.
During this time, we must continue to wear a mask. Wash your hands and practice social distancing.
It's important that we continue to abide by the CDC's guidelines to stop the spread.
Jaguar Nation, we challenge you to mask up.
Go Jag!
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Welcome back to hour one of our Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show and the continuation of the inaugural segment. Now that's just stupid. Watching all of the stupidity that is literally blossoming here in America and in other countries as well, Canada, you're not excluded. It's bothersome to watch all this unfold. And in an effort to fight what is an apparent willingness to join in the stupidity, we thought we'd give you the opportunity to see some of this stupidity in action and hopefully get you to contribute to restoring some sanity to the world. An article in Canada's largest newspaper, the Globe and Mail, says mowing your lawn is racist. You can't make this stuff up, y'all. The article starts with this. When most people think of lawns, they picture carefree kids playing in backyards, picnics in well-kept parks. Perhaps they even feel a sense of pride at how green and immaculate their own lawn is. But the traditional lawn, manicured, under control, now finds itself at the confluence of 2 hot-button issues: climate change and indigenous rights. Some environmentalists, First Nations leaders, and even hobby gardeners are calling for a different approach to how we view and treat the ubiquitous urban green space. It is, they argue, a lasting symbol of how settlers appropriated indigenous land and culture. And the rigid Western ideal we have imposed continues to hurt the planet and, in turn, all of us. The lawn, some go so far as to say, needs to be decolonialized. It continues. What is a lawn but a statement of control over nature? Asks John Douglas Belshaw, a Canadian history professor at Thompson Rivers University in Kamloops, British Columbia. The quote continues. That's a huge part of settler culture. You see that river there? We can dam that. We can organize that water. We can make that water work for us. It's essentially the same mindset. I can reorganize this landscape, flatten it, plant lawn, find a non-indigenous species of plant, of grass, and completely extract anything that's not homogeneous, that doesn't fit with this green pattern, and control it. A backyard with a big lawn is like a classroom for colonialism and environmental hostility. Stop smoking that stuff. Stop it. Stop smoking that stuff. The article continues. Arguably, in our urban areas, the lawn is kind of the largest ecosystem. And that's a large problem because a monocrop, one crop, mono, of grass, which is what most lawns are, is vulnerable to disease and drought and can act as an ecological desert. Mr. Krauss compares plants to people, quote, these unknown plants that you think are all weeds, but when you actually get to know them, they have their own stories and are as wonderful as any other plants. If you want to reduce the number of weeds, reduce the amount of white grubs, and increase the beneficial insects like pollinators, or simply don't mow your lawn as much. You got to get to know the plants. They have stories of their own. And this is akin to, you wanting your lawn to be manicured and all one type of grass. That's like colonizing and doing away with the indigenous people. Now, it's one thing for these idiots to think this way. It is something else entirely for a newspaper to publish it. Now that's just stupid. Mowing your lawn is akin to colonization. You're taking over indigenous people's lands and you're trying to tell these weeds that they have no place here. That's just not right. That's racist. Stop smoking that. I don't know in Canada if they've passed a law yet or not, but I know in Louisiana, probably in all 50 states as well. What's the big name of that synthetic marijuana that just makes you hallucinate and lose your mind? Mojo. Canada, y'all need to hurry up and pass a law banning mojo. Mowing your lawn is akin to colonization and racism. Now that's just stupid. Of course, now it is not the first, and sadly, it's not going to be the last. Speaking of which. And here's the thing. What is so very painful about all of this, it is the areas, the institutions, the organizations that at one time we thought represented the best and brightest of civilization. The media, newspapers, academia, colleges, universities. That's where the stupidest of stupid seems to be hailing from these days. Last one of that's just stupid. Speaking of academia, Princeton. When you hear the name, you automatically think best of the best, brightest of the brightest. I mean, we're talking Harvard, Brown, Yale, Columbia, Princeton, okay? The president of that prestigious university recently published an article that said, quote, racism is embedded in the structures of the university. Christopher Eisgruber sent this letter to the Princeton community at the beginning of the month. It reads in part, racist assumptions from the past also remain embedded in structures of the university itself. For example, Princeton inherits from earlier generations at least 9 departments and programs organized around European languages and culture, but only a relatively small program in African studies. He also says in the letter, discrimination takes place at the university. And he goes on and on to talk about how they're so sorry that, you know, we have these things embedded in the bedrock of the institution and yada yada and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, thanks to the president of Princeton acknowledging all of this, the Federal Department of Education and Department of Justice got a copy of the letter and said, whoa, wait a minute. You do realize that admitting to practicing discrimination over all these years is a violation of federal law and means you can no longer receive federal money. So the Department of Justice has now launched an investigation and in all likelihood will end up pulling funding from Princeton. Couldn't have happened to a nicer bunch of folks. Instead of saying, Columbia University, from this day forth we will change our ways, and this is what we are implementing to do that. You went and shot your mouth off, and now the Fed's gonna pull your funding. Now that's just stupid. Every single day, all you have to do is wake up. And in these days and times, you will find more stupid than you know what to do with. Amazing. If I wasn't here to see it myself, there's no way you could have ever convinced me that my country would arrive at this point. Then again, I've always heard Stupid is as stupid does, and stupid knows no bounds. Final break of hour one. We get her done, and we'll talk more right where you've got it, here on the Monday edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Exiles from what, you ask? Exiled from the radio, but now we're on your television.
I'm Bill Perfita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Welcome back as we work our way toward top of the hour and the end of hour one of the Monday edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. I'm trying to remember the exact quote. I'll paraphrase. There is joy abounding in HBCU football land today. It has been announced that Prime time, Neon Deion Sanders, thank you, by the way, Jonathan, will be the next head football coach at Jackson State University. He made the announcement Sunday on his new podcast saying, quote, "God called me to Jackson State," end of quote. I guess technically God did call him, meaning when you count those dollars that Jackson State is going to pay him, it does say on the money, "In God we trust." So technically, yeah, I guess God did call prime time to Jackson State. It is, I was trying to think in recent memory, what is the biggest impact from an HBCU on the national scene in any particular sport? And the last thing that comes to mind would probably be Ricky Weeks being chosen as the number 2 draft pick overall in Major League Baseball from little old bitty Southern University. I say little old Southern University because comparatively speaking to other programs, it's a small school and a small program, albeit as small as Southern is, comparatively speaking to other schools, their history is so very rich in baseball that when it comes down to small schools and impact in Major League Baseball, Southern University is at the top of the list. When you think about the likes of Lou Brock, who passed not so very long ago, you think about the likes of Ricky Weeks, and HBCUs in general over the years. Oil Can Boyd, pitcher extraordinaire, hailed from Jackson State University. But the point is, this is arguably the biggest story from an impact nationally in HBCU sports in a mighty long time, as the old folks would say. It brings, and I was thinking moments ago as I was hurriedly researching this, I was trying to think what individual could walk into a situation, be a black man, and transcend color in the game of football at an HBCU. You think back many years ago to Grambling State University's White Tiger, and many people thought that would open the door for a mass infusion of white players into the ranks of HBCU football. Didn't happen. Baseball, on the other hand, is a completely different scenario. I want to say it was 6, 7 years ago, maybe, where I go up to Lee Hines Field on the campus of Southern University for Southern and Mississippi Valley playing in baseball. And they're playing the national anthem. Prior to that, both teams run out as they always do, and they line the first base and third base lines. They all remove their caps and show reverence as the anthem's being played. And Valley runs out to the field, and I'm saying, what all these white folk doing now? Where all these white people come from? The entire starting 9 for Mississippi Valley that year in baseball were all white. Every single starter at an HBCU were all white. That said to me 2 things. One, we are making monumental progress as far as HBCUs, and it's one thing you got to understand here. Historically, black colleges and universities, the first word says it all. Historically doesn't mean that you have to be today all black. It only means back in the day. Historically, this is how it was, because it was the only place where black folk could go to get an education. It was the only place black folk could go to play baseball, was at an HBCU on the college level. Of course, now all of that has long since changed. Enter 9 white boys starting for Mississippi Valley State in baseball. But it also said to me, here is a coach that is dedicated to putting the best 9 kids on the field. He didn't care about what color they were. He didn't care about the historical nature of HBCUs. All he cared about was winning gains for the university that hired him. And at the end of the day, isn't that all that should matter? This hire by Jackson State of prime time, Neon Deion, is probably the single most impactful hire at an HBCU in the sports program, certainly in recent memory. I was tempted for just a second to say in my lifetime, but I'd have to go all the way back down through to verify that. So I'll withhold that confirmation. Y'all gonna get mad at me, Jaguar Nation, but that's all right. You'll have to agree with me if you're truthful. Only if you're truthful. Many thought Stump Mitchell, legendary NFL running back, would bring that air of significance, would bring that air of validity to the program at Southern. And of course, we all know now how that turned out. The very first press conference, gets up to the podium and says, we're going to win every game we play. And instead, ended up with the worst record in the history of Jaguar football, but that's a different show for a different day. Primetime is the kind of guy that can go and sit in anybody's living room in America. And obviously, as Roger Cador pointed out in our discussions when news of this all broke weeks ago, obviously, a young man that's being recruited by LSU, by Ohio State, by Clemson, in all likelihood, even if it's prime time, is not going to Jackson State, is not going to an HBCU. But the point here is prime time can go and sit in a white family's living room. And if it is that level of athlete, they'll trust their kid to go and play at Jackson State. Only time will tell what the impact is going to be. Only time will tell if that prognostication ends up being true. But I got to tell you, I cannot begin to imagine the joy in Blue Bingo land these days. Now, obviously, you're going to have some detractors. I don't know why they hired this guy. Yeah, he got a big name, but he has no head coaching experience. What are they doing? Well, these days, the head coach is only as good as the assistants that he surrounds himself with. And rest assured, I'm sure the hierarchy at Jackson State had a serious come to Jesus with Deion Sanders. Now look, we're going to be honest with you, Prime. We are hiring you for your name. We are hiring you for the ability to use your name to recruit. But you got to be sure, and we want to vet all of these assistant coaches to be sure that we don't end up with the prime time disaster. You follow me? We're going to continue to follow this one. The repercussions will probably be making waves for some time to come. Welcome to the SWAC, Deion Sanders. Top of the hour. Get this break out of the way. Hour 2 of the Clarence Bugg Show next on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Look up to the skies, I see desire in your eyes, but you can't keep it in your heart. 'Cause misery loves company. 'Cause misery loves company. Cold and hungry like a dog in the street. I get a raw deal every
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Welcome back as we start hour 2 of our Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping again that your weekend was a fabulous one, and if not, as we like to say every Monday right about this time of the day, good Lord willing, you will still be here when the next one rolls our way, and you will have the opportunity to try it all over again. I am more than reasonably sure, I'm confident, that the good folks that were so very adversely affected by Hurricane Laura would not mind in the least, those of you that are members of the community of faith, if you would be so kind as to keep those good folks in your thoughts and your prayers. Obviously, because of the damage inflicted there and the inordinate amount of suffering that they continue to go through there. But to add insult to injury, Tropical Storm Beta now has the potential to add to that misery. Every day when I talk with the God that I love so dearly, I ask, among other things, blessings for the recent victims of disasters, both natural and man-made, and a blessing for those whose job it is to facilitate their recovery. Asking God to bless those folks, FEMA folks, insurance folks, other folks, with patience, wisdom, kindness, understanding, and perseverance. Because God knows it's times like these that folks that were impacted certainly need it. So if you are, in fact, a member of the community of faith, be so kind as to keep those good folks in your thoughts and your prayers. And it goes without saying, we are nowhere near the end of the 2020 hurricane season just yet. Hopefully, this will be the final impact that we'll have here in the Bayou State. But as crazy as this year has been weather-wise, I wouldn't bet the farm on it. I wouldn't bet 50 cents on it, for that matter. But again, if you are a member of the community of faith, please keep that in mind as we now deal with Beta, as we've done with so many other storms this year. Want to start this hour and this entire hour talking about how the media uses us. If you have not figured out just yet that when a group of people subscribe only to one narrative, a group of people, by the way, who are supposed to be nothing but objective. They're only supposed to give you and I, to use the old saying from the TV series Dragnet, just the facts. When you find a group of people that incessantly, every single day, only try to steer you to the negative, that's supposed to tell you something about the true nature of these individuals. Now, for the record, they've been doing this for quite some time. So they've had to get slick about it. They've had to up their game now. So the big thing these days is, let's come up with a catchy phrase. Let's come up with a new word. And that will allow us to pull the wool further over America's collective eyes, or in this case, their base of liberals. The hot thing these days is the word systemic. Oh, sounds evil, doesn't it? If we put systemic in front of whatever, particularly something else ugly, oh, we got their attention, and they're much easier to fall in line like sheep and go with the narrative that we're feeding them. Systemic racism. That's the new hot button phrase and hot button issue. And if you believe the media, if you give them half a second, they will convince you that America is suffering from systemic racism. Well, I guess I could go along to a degree with that, but not in the way that you think. Here's what I mean. Systemic, to me, is voting for the same group of people, Democrats, over and over and over and over. And you're still the least educated and the most incarcerated. You've heard me say before, liberals have this propensity to destroy everything they touch. The public school system, and I'm not going to put this all just on the schools. Lest we forget, I am a proud product of the public school system. But I also grew up in an era where the overwhelming majority of black families had two parents in the household. The overwhelming majority of black parents understood the value of an education, and they went out of their way to be darn sure that their kids got one. In this country, let me give you some stats real quick. Washington, D.C., the school system there spends $30,000 per student every year. 30 grand on every single public school student every year. And yet, only 23% of 8th graders in the public school system in Washington, D.C. read at a level of proficient or above. In other words, you spend 30 grand per student per year in our nation's capital, Democrat prime territory, and 77% of 8th graders can read nowhere near an 8th grade level. And yet, you vote for these people over and over and over again. Now that's systemic. You talk about systemic problems and racism in America, but you vote for people who have passed legislation and who make it possible for 72% of black babies to be born in single-parent households. Speaking of stats, did you know a lot of people will claim, well, you got to understand, Clarence, this is leftover vestiges of slavery. Okay, well, let's look at this. In 1960, only 22% of black kids were born to a single-parent household. 22%, 1960. Today, 72% of black babies are born to single-parent households. Now, for the record, there are lots of marvelous single parents out there. But let's be real here, y'all. When a male child reaches a certain age, the old folks tell you they start smelling themselves. When a male child, particularly a black male child, reaches a certain age, there's only so much a mother can do with him. There's only so much. There arrives a point where you need a strong male figure in that home to yank that chain and set him right. It is a biological fact. And yet, you vote over and over and over and over for people that have passed legislation and put policies in place to make it profitable for you to keep the father out of the household. That's systemic. You talk about systemic racism and problems in America. Well, you vote over and over and over and over and over and over again, exclusively for a bunch of folks that have passed laws and have now talked you into killing 16 million of your own babies in the womb. Black women only make up 6.5% of this country's population, but we make up more than 7 times that number in abortions. Now that's systemic and racist. But you listen to the mainstream media, it's nobody but them evil conservatives, them Republicans, and them white folk that's guilty of systemically attacking the black family. If after all of this you still believe that, I've got a beachfront mountaintop chalet in Bruley, Louisiana that I'll let you have real cheap. Just saying. We're going to talk more about this, quote, racism problem in America. But I got to get my first break out of the way. I don't want Marty over there sitting like this. Let me get this break out of the way. We'll talk more next on the Clarence Bugg Show here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonCountryClub.com.
That's right, the Clarence Bug Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Cantea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Cantea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Welcome back to Hour 2 of our Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Before we continue, there are some additional statistics that I need to share with you. You've heard me say, God knows how many times, liberals have this penchant for destroying so many things that they get involved in. And while I am a proud product of the public school system, I would have to wonder what my parents' reaction would have been had these numbers existed when I was a young lad walking the halls of Southern Lab Elementary, Glen Oaks Junior High, now middle school, and Glen Oaks High School. I told you in our nation's capital, the District of Columbia, they spend $30 grand a year per student per year, but only 23% of 8th graders read at a level of proficient or above. There are 8 states that fare significantly worse. Public schools in Alaska spend $19,396 per student, and only 23% of 8th graders were proficient or better in reading. Only 29% were proficient or better in math. Public schools in New Mexico. Of course, now, I guess they can kind of stick their chest out a little bit because they didn't spend but $19,000 per student, whereas D.C. spent $30,000, and they matched the 23% proficiency rating. Public schools in New Mexico spent $11,596 per pupil, but only 23% of 8th graders in New Mexico's public schools were proficient or better in reading, and only 21% proficient or better in math. Public schools in Alabama, $10,600 $615 per pupil. 24% of 8th graders proficient or better in reading, only 21% proficient or better in math. Public schools in Texas, $11,985 per student. 25% of 8th graders proficient or better in reading, only 30% proficient or better in math. In Mississippi, public schools spend $9,661 per student per year. Only 25% of 8th graders proficient or better in reading, 24% proficient or better in math. West Virginia, $12,500 per student per year. Only 25% of 8th graders proficient or better in reading, 24% in math. Oklahoma, $8,935 per student. Only 26% of 8th graders proficient or better in reading, 26% proficient or better in math. And of course, Louisiana, $12,502 per pupil per year. Only 23% of our 8th graders proficient or better in math, only 27% proficient or better in reading. If you know anything at all about poverty, you understand typically there are 3 ways out of it. One is to get an education. 2 is to have good health. 3, to have a job. When you are spending this kind of money and getting results of this sort, it's a given that you're not getting a good education. Without a good education, you can pretty much cancel the third part of the equation, which is getting a good job. So you still continue to vote for these same folk over and over and over again, those that do vote, and then you feel as though you have the right to complain. Now, it's been a long time since I've sat in a classroom, taking a class in a learning environment. And I know they got Common Core, they got the new math and all of that, and they got that idiot up at, what university was that? We talked about this weeks ago, that said 1 + 1 doesn't necessarily equal 2. Because if you have a rooster and a hen, and you put them together, and you come back, and there's a chick there, now 1 + 1 = 3. I understand they got the new math, I get it. But 1 and 1 is still 2, y'all. 1 and 1 is still 2. I don't care what those idiots tell you, and I don't care how idiot you happen to be to believe it. 1 and 1 is still 2. And when these are the sorts of results that you're getting for the folks you vote for, at the end of the day, I don't blame the schools, I blame you. If you are one of those that continues to vote for these same old folk with the D behind their name over and over and over again, and if you are one of those that has a child in 8th grade and you hadn't been total to 8 PTO meetings in your child's educational lifetime, you the problem. It's not the teacher, it's not the school, it's you. Those children didn't ask to come here. You brought them here. And after the part of making them and bringing them here is over, you have an obligation. God has given you an obligation to do everything within your power to ensure that the children you brought here have everything they need to excel in life. These numbers, 23%, 24%, 27%, you do realize that not so very long ago, the United States of America led the entire industrialized world in educational attainment. My, how far we've fallen. And instead of doing the right thing, looking in the mirror, placing the blame where it belongs, acknowledging the problem, and doing every single thing within our power to fix it, what do? We play the race card. This is our future we're talking about, y'all. And by now, I'm sure you are well aware of the old adage. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. Now, let me say for the record, I understand full well what the media is doing with your brains. I get it. They have snookered, hoodwinked, and bamboozled you into thinking, bless your little old heart, you can't do no better for yourself. Despite living in the land of opportunity, despite being blessed by God to be born in the land of milk and honey, bless your little old heart, you can't do no better. Well, I, for one, refuse to drink that Kool-Aid. Not because conservatives tell me, not because white folks say so, but because I know better. I've lived it. I grew up in an era where only 22% of all black children were born to single-parent households. And even those were there 20 minutes, 30 minutes before the start of every PTO meeting at our child's school. I grew up in an era where if you dared walk down the street showing the rest of the world your ashy behind and your dirty drawers, Lord help you by the time you got home. I grew up in an era where we understood the police were there to help, and it was our duty to assist them in getting the scum out of our communities. Worked pretty darn good for us then. So what's the difference between then and now? I'll let you figure that out. Bottom of the hour break. Speaking of the race card, we're gonna play some of that next on the Clarence Bug Show. Here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Welcome back to hour 2 of our Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, I mentioned in the last segment how the media has this penchant for following an agenda and attempting to steer us in certain directions. Sowing the seeds of discourse is an often used phrase in that regard. And all of this racial upheaval points the finger in that regard. And of course, the media, and you got to give them an A for consistency. Ever since this man took office, they have been throwing every single thing they can, hoping something will stick. And understanding the most emotional thing you can do is play the race card. The media would have you believe Donald Trump is the biggest racist to ever walk this planet. But I'm going to tell you, if that's the case, somebody needs to start a petition to have Donald Trump's racist card revoked. Because he's a mighty poor excuse for a racist. And I'll tell you why. Have you heard of, and if you watch only CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, then you don't know this, so I'll be the one to enlighten you. There's a piece of legislation called the First Step Act. This was the most comprehensive criminal justice reform in decades. The president understood that Joe Biden, by the way, was the co-author of legislation. Bill Clinton signed it into law, and it resulted in the biggest incarceration of black men in our country's history. The First Step Act was designed to give these individuals wrongly convicted or sentenced in an exorbitant fashion. It was designed to get them out, to either release them from prison or reduce their sentences. Thousands of people benefited. Oh, and by the way, 91% of the men released or had their sentences reduced were black. If you're a racist, that's a mighty poor excuse for a racist. Aren't you supposed to go out of your way to be sure all these black folk remain locked up, and let's lock up some more on top of that? 91% of the prisoners that benefited from the First Step Act, the most comprehensive criminal reform in decades, signed into law by Donald Trump, 91% of those who benefited were black folk. The Trump administration, I mentioned in the last segment, the way out of poverty is to get an education, first and foremost. President Trump appointed, the racist that he is, a presidential advisory board on HBCUs. He found out every year funding for historically black colleges and universities has to go through a process every year where Congress decides, okay, how much do we have, how much can we give them, so on and so forth. President said, that's horse hockey. That's bull crap. They need to have permanent funding. So through executive order, he said, Congress, you ain't gonna do your job? That's all right, where my pen? I got this. He signed an executive order guaranteeing permanent funding for HBCUs and, by the way, increased their budgets by 25% annually. That's a mighty poor excuse for a racist. Aren't you supposed to try to keep them black folk ignorant? And you increasing their budget, guaranteeing their funding? What kind of racist are you? Man, we need to pull your racist card. Speaking of education, hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of black kids in the inner city are stuck in failing schools. I just gave you the numbers. 23, 24, 25% of 8th graders reading only at proficient or better. Millions of black kids are stuck in failing schools in the inner city. Donald Trump says that 30 grand that you're spending, DC, on each student every year and getting these horrific results, you as a parent should be able to take that 30 grand and pay tuition for your child at a school that you think will do better. That's a poor excuse for a racist. What's wrong with you, man? You trying to help these black kids stuck in failing schools? You want to take the 30 grand that they're getting miserable results for it and give it to black parents so they can put their kid in a better school? We're going to pull your racist card because you're letting us down, bruh. The best way, third part of the equation, out of poverty, education, good health, and of course, a job. Pre-COVID, Donald Trump built an economy that resulted in the lowest unemployment for black folks in the history of this country. Oh, but he's a racist. If he was this big racist, wouldn't he try to do everything within his power to make sure black folks don't have no jobs so they can remain in poverty and we can continue to lord over them? Oh, but the media are gonna have you believe he's a racist. Now, it's one thing for the media to feed you this line of crap. It is something else entirely for you to believe it and then spout these talking points at every opportunity you get. Don't take my word for it. Look it up for yourself. Get off your lazy behind, stop worshiping at the altar of CNN, and do some research and find out for yourself. Does all of these things I just gave you, does that sound like something that a racist would do? If it is, that's a mighty poor excuse for a racist. You helping HBCUs like nobody else has ever done. You trying to help black folks get their inner city kids out of these failing schools. You trying to give jobs to black folks. What is wrong with you? Don't you know you're supposed to be a racist? And of course, you letting folks out of jail, reducing the sentences for people wrongly convicted, giving them another start, 91% of whom happen to be black. What kind of racist are you? Man, you letting us down. And we continue to fall for it. Only because CNN told you. Despicable. My man, Mark, how are you, my friend? I'm sorry to keep you holding, Mark, but I had to get that off my chest, my friend. Good morning.
I fully understand. Good morning.
How are you, my friend?
Waiting on the rain.
Yes, sir.
Let me help you out a little bit here.
Okay.
What's the main thing that are wrong with the societies of not just the United States, but the world as a whole?
Oh, Lord. How much time you got?
This is the very simple answer.
I'll start with the entitlement mentality.
Negative.
I'll start with media influence.
Negative.
I'll throw in playing the race card.
Ask any of the pastors what they think is wrong right now with the entire societies of most of the world, and that's a moral and ethical junkyard that we've turned into being.
Yeah, can't argue with you there, my friend.
Politicians, to be a politician, that's a blood sport.
Well, you know, Mark, I guess I can understand. People believe what they believe. And if you lean left or if you lean right, you have that right as an American. But at the end of the day, if you take God out of the equation, if you don't have a moral compass, then you don't know how to deal with people on the left or the right that happen to be the opposite of where you are. And unfortunately, we've got a group of folks, Democrats, who have made it their mission to take God out of our schools, to take God off of our money, to try to get God out of the pledge, to take God out of the courthouses. And now we find ourselves where we find ourselves.
Did you see this morning's paper?
No.
The mayor is getting ready to spend almost $24 million federal money to try to figure out how to solve the problems in Baton Rouge, with the homicide rate being one of them.
Yeah,
one of the ladies on her committee remarked, "Where are the pastors in this study that we're supposed to be compiled to try to help spend this money?"
Boom. Got you. Mark, thank you, my friend. Now, little point of clarification. If I remember reading the story right, and I think I saw this story Friday, I want to say it's 2.5 million, not 25 million, if memory serves correct. But now, Mark, and you and I, Mark, we agree on a lot of things. However, I've got to differentiate on one small area here. I am of the opinion, and I didn't think about this until my pastor said it, then pastor at the time, he has since retired. But he was of the opinion, and I now subscribe to that theory. If you put God in your child's heart at home, going to a school where they've taken God out of school is not going to affect your child because it's in your child's heart. If you at home teach your child about God, the principles and the precepts therein included, anywhere they go, it's with them and nobody can take it out. Now, I agree 100% that we've lost our moral compass. But at the end of the day, English teachers, forgive me in 3, 2, 1. That ain't the school's job. That's the parents' job to do that. If we collectively teach our kids this at home, take them, don't send them, take them to church on Sunday, we can mitigate the Democrats wanting to take the 10 Commandments out of the courthouse. They'll never see the inside of the courthouse. Unless they're like me, they're a reporter going to cover a story. They'll never see the inside. Why? Because you taught them at home about God. When they go to that school where, when you and I went, we'd say a prayer in the morning. We'd say the Pledge of Allegiance. If they go to that school now, under the threat of a lawsuit, you better not talk about praying, and God forbid if you're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. It won't matter, Mark, if you've taught your children at home about God. They will take it with them to the school. So while I agree wholeheartedly, the moral compass, I mean, look at America. Let's just be real. Real talk, y'all. Real talk. A nation founded on Christian principles now has federal law for gay marriage. A country founded on Christian principles now has God only allowed in private schools. A nation founded on Christian principles has killed 60+ million of God's greatest gift to us, our babies in the womb. And we wonder why we are wobbling down the road. We can't find true north, God, anymore. If you can't figure that out, you are part of the problem. Final break of today's show. Let me bang it out. We'll come back, put a big old bow on this puppy, and wrap up the Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Jaguar Nation, we need your help in masking up Louisiana.
Mask help us slow the spread of COVID-19.
During this time, we must continue to wear a mask, wash our hands, and practice social distancing.
It's important that we continue to abide by the CDC's guidelines to stop the spread.
Jaguar Nation, we challenge you to mask up. Go Jag!
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Who is it talks about what was it, Marty? The harp player, the harmonica? The piccolo player. Yeah. There you go. Before we get out of here today, some important information, very important information to pass along to you and yours. Tens of thousands of my fellow Louisianians, you are leaving money on the table. The IRS announcing last week that almost 160,000 Louisiana residents have not claimed their stimulus check. Now, I know that 160,000, y'all big money ballers. Y'all don't need the stimulus check. But if you do, and you are a part of the 160,000 people in Louisiana that have not yet claimed your stimulus check, time is running out, y'all. You should receive a letter from the IRS informing you that you are still eligible to claim it. But the deadline to apply for the check is October 15th. The Internal Revenue Service's IRS Get My Payment tool will guide you through the process where you can submit your Social Security number, personal bank information, so on and so forth. That's simply go to irs.gov, click on the Get My Payment, not the Show Me the Money. That's a different tab, all right? Get My Payment tool and get your money, y'all. 160,000 Louisianians are eligible for this money. And for whatever reason, as of yet, haven't claimed it. The IRS, by the way, will not be contacting anyone for personal or bank account information. Calls, texts, emails, official-looking postcards or printouts that suggest otherwise, they're a scam, okay? Only go to irs.gov and look for the tab there. Click on the tab, the Get My Payment tool. Get your money, y'all. Times are tough. Times are tight. Every little bit helps. And again, you know, if you are big money baller and $1,200 right now is not going to make a big difference to you, well, get the $1,200 and then donate it to hurricane recovery relief for the folks in Lake Charles. Get the money, donate it to a fellow Louisianian that lost their job because of the COVID-19 shutdown. John Bell, thank you. Get the money and donate it to a charitable or worthy cause. But for God's sake, y'all, all 160,000 of y'all, don't let that money just sit there and go to waste. Because again, October 15th, it's the deadline for you to apply. And I know you've been busy, you've been dodging hurricanes and tropical storms, and you've been locked down because of COVID-19 and wondering how you're going to get your child back in school and, you know, all of this other stuff. You've been watching CNN and they've been raising your blood pressure, calling Trump a racist and all that kind of foolishness. I get it. But it's your $1,200. Do you really want to just let that money go flittering off into the wind? I didn't think so. IRS.gov, y'all. and click on the Get My Payment tool. Govern yourselves accordingly. You know, all the stuff that we talked about today, it pains me to say, the closer we get to election day, the crazier it's going to get. If you think the media, mainstream media, ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, oh my God, MSLSD, if you think all they've done is talk negative, 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 negative so far, my friends, you ain't seen nothing yet. It hasn't even started yet. That's why it is so vitally important that you start to think for yourself. It should be painfully obvious by now that the media of old is not the media we have today. It used to be, I'll give you just the facts, and you make up your own mind. Now, not only do they only give a one-sided, slanted view, but on top of that, they'll call you an ugly name if you don't believe them. That is why use the tools at your disposal, y'all, and find out the truth. It's not just your life that can be impacted. We're talking the future of our country. When all is said and done, we have been too blessed to live here. We have been handed grace, liberty, freedom. We've got a responsibility to those that come along after us to be sure it remains intact. That being said, my time's up and I have got to go. But once again, this day, maybe more so than any other, I'll give it to you. You're right. America, we're not perfect, but doggone it, from my money, it's the best there is. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you realize he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Doesn't really matter, because there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. Take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you Wednesday. God bless.